They must be out in the boonies of Mississippi to believe that, because anybody who has more than 500 brain cells going in the same direction and can read and understand what's going on must know that we are now a totalitarian fascist dictatorship. And we go from one side to the other. In America, you have the Democrats and Republicans. You cannot have a third party. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how much money you got. You cannot have a third party. You must either be a Republican or Democrat. There's a reason for that. Because you only have two eyes. You can't have three. You only have two arms, two legs. You don't have four legs. You only have two. And so the symbol for the Roman corporation back in the ancient Roman Empire was an eagle. And the eagle only has two wings, left wing and right wing. So that's why we have left wing and right wing politics, because the eagle only has two wings.
I just have a quick question, if you don't mind. What's the difference in terms of, you see a lot of eagle symbolism everywhere,
yeah.
and my question is, you see the single-headed eagle, and then you see the double-headed eagle. Yeah. What is the difference between those two symbols, or are they similar?
One has two heads and one has one.
Other than that?
Oh, other than that. The eagle, first of all, the eagle in ancient history, and all the ancient cultures of the world, the eagle has always been important. I think that's fascinating too. All the ancient cultures of the world always use the eagle. The eagle, in every case, always, no matter how ancient the culture was, the eagle always represented the sun. The sun was the giver of life. It was the one that brought warmth to the earth. It brought light to the earth. It was the energy that brought life into the earth with its energy. It was the dominant power in our little world that we live on the earth, is the sun. Without the sun, we're dead. And so the sun always represented the bright, brilliant power of life. And so therefore all of the Nazi, communist, fascist, bloodletting murderers who saw themselves as world dictators always used the sun. They were the great enlightened ones who brought power to the world and energy to the world and all that stuff. So the eagle originally represented the sun, which is very interesting because most of the secret societies behind world government are based on the worship of the sun. Like Christianity, that was nothing more. Christianity was nothing more than a cult, a very successful cult, but a cult nonetheless. The Christian church today is a very, and all Christians, I'm talking about Catholic and Protestant, all forms of Christianity that calls itself Christian are, in point of fact, a cult. But they're very successful. They got a lot of money and they're a very big cult. Well, I mean, so is, you could say the Mafia, La Cosa Nostra in Sicily is a cult. It's a private association. Criminal, but it's a private cult. And you have to join it.
Well, no less criminal than the Vatican, certainly.
Well, and of course, the Vatican is the grandmother of all cults. Now, the Vatican is a lot more than you think it is. There's a whole story about that. But, so the eagle represented the sun. The sun represents power on the earth and enlightenment. That's why all the enlightened, intellectual, brilliant people use the sun as a symbol for their enlightenment. But the double-headed eagle actually goes back into ancient history, had nothing to do with Rome at all. I think it was Etruscan, and from I seem to remember that it was also used in the Middle Eastern countries like Iraq and Iran thousands of years ago. That's a very interesting subject. I've done some research on that many years ago, and I don't even recall exactly, but that's something for you to look up. The double-headed eagle, which of course is used in Freemasonry and the Masonic orders, but it's also used in many other fraternal orders around the world, and government seals.
The Germans,
So, yeah.
It's used as the symbol for the Vitesse football team in Arnhem, which the Germans call Arnheim. And when you look at it, you know, I think that if the Nazis were using it quite as much, and they're still in Germany using it today, even post-Nazi era, that it probably in some way would tie back to the Teutonic Knights as well.
Absolutely. You can bet on that, yep. And it's interesting, too, is, you know, It's been proven over and over and over again by documentation that's been collected over the years by really top-of-the-line researchers in America and around the world, even in Europe especially, that the Nazi movement is anything but dead. And that all the big German corporations like Mercedes and Volkswagen and all those big corporations, they're all secretly financing Nazi activity in Central America, South America, Brazil, Argentina. Argentina is getting a lot of money from these big corporations like Volkswagen and IKEA and Mercedes. And I've always been amused at how the Jews talk about the dirty, rotten Nazis, and yet all the Jews that I know in LA are driving Mercedes and and Porsches.
What they don't know is that at a given time, all the doors will lock and the heaters will all go on.
That's right, exactly. And nothing new under the sun. It's the same old stuff. People buy into those things that they don't understand. But it's a fact that the big German corporations today, like I said, those are just the ones that come to my mind. The big ones, corporations like Porsche, are, in point of fact, still financing the Nazi movement in America. Money is coming from those big corporations to secret societies, secret Masonic orders in German orders in Central South America, Mexico, and here in America. We know that for a fact. So I just say to the world, well, keep buying your Mercedes and your Porsches and
Bear aspirin
and Bear aspirin and all the Bear aspirin developed at Auschwitz.
IG Farben, yeah.
IG Farben.
And then what do? They put Fritz Tamir. What did they put him in jail for? About 6 years, and then they put him in charge of Codex Alimentarius because he hadn't murdered enough people.
I know, it's just business, though. You're taking this personal. It's not personal. It's just business.
It's just business.
Just business.
Don't take your death too personally.
Don't take it personal. I figured you were going to die anyway. If you're going to die anyway, we might as well kill you ourselves. So.
And make a profit while doing it.
Well, of course. We're talking business here. We're talking commerce. And so, and the people, I'm amazed how many people supposedly living in an enlightened country have no knowledge of any of this. None. They don't have any knowledge about what's going on. They don't know about IG Farben. They have no idea about IG Farben connected to Bayer Aspirin, and that the Bayer Aspirin Company was the first official company to bring heroin into America. Heroin was being sold in America and brought in by the Bayer Aspirin Company.
Well, just the aspirin alone kills red blood cells. I mean,
yeah. It's just amazing. I mean, how many people know that during the Vietnam War, the Golden Triangle, which is China and all that area where the poppy is grown, that's what the Vietnam War was all about. Who's going to control the narcotics of the world?
The same way that's what Afghanistan is about. You know, the Taliban shut down the heroin trade, and boy, the Americans had to get in there as fast as is humanly possible.
Immediately get in there. You can't shut down the opium trade and the heroin trade and all the narcotics and all the stuff that's going on in Afghanistan. That's money. And so the whole thing is for the control of drugs. Big money in that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I always add that, it's true, there's big money in drugs and all of this is high criminality, but there would be no drug trade at all if the people themselves weren't sucking it up. The Americans love drugs. They're into all kinds of drugs. And even if it's not a pill, they'll live their life for Hollywood. It's like a drug. It's smoking, drinking, alcohol, pills. Then, of course, the kids get into the heavy stuff, mainlining. So our great republic is on drugs and it's dying. And the people, the general public, does not want to hear this. They don't want to hear it. I go back to the Bible again. The Old Testament, there's a place where the people were telling one of the old prophets of Israel, they said, why can't you prophesy nice things for us? Every time you come around, for God's sake, you're prophesying we're doomed, we're going to die, God is going to take us out, and we're going to be destroyed. Why the hell can't you come once in a while and say something nice, not building? And so I think this is exactly right. This is why people don't want to hear the kind of thing I'm talking about. Because I'm just telling you what the truth is.
Sort of ostrich syndrome.
Absolutely. Most people cannot handle the truth. You're like in a movie. Was it Mike Nicholson?
You can't handle the truth.
And young Tom Cruise, and Michael Nicholson says to Tom Cruise in the movie, he says, well, what do you want from me? And Tom Cruise says, I want the truth. And then that famous line, you can't handle the truth.